When was the last time you thought about your sewer line and its access points? The reason I bring this up is I got a question today, and the question was, why do I need a clean out? And the answer is really simple, but before we get into that, do you know where your sewer clean out is on your home? Sewer lines are pipes. All they do is take liquid and solid and then convey it all the way down to the road. Now, if you're on a septic system, it'll go to your septic tank, but the whole purpose of your sewer line is to get stuff from the house to wherever you're trying to put it, whether it's the main road or your septic system. The problem with sewer lines is sometimes stuff gets stuck in the sewer line. That's where cleanouts come into play. A cleanout is going to be a pipe access point somewhere on the line, whether that's in the home, it should be in the home, several parts of the home, transitions, or if you have any kind of turn. So like, for example, a common place that you will see a cleanout is right as the pipe exits the home. Usually, in our area, it will be in the wall as the pipe is leaving. Sometimes you get it to where you will also have access points throughout the way. So like in our area, every 75 foot of pipe, you should have a clean out. And the reason why is so that way when you go to dislodge that clog, you can actually get to the clog and fix it rather than having to hope the guy's got 200 foot of length to be able to snake out the line. When the clean out's outside, usually you'll see it just like this, sitting right at the surface. This one was just a little bit below the surface, which is why we had to move the dirt, but this is what it's gonna look like. Usually they're 4 inches. On a septic tank, they're gonna usually be a little bit larger. You're gonna have a 6-inch clean out. And if you get a really big one, you're gonna have a manhole riser. This is for maintenance, but this little guy right here is how you're gonna dislodge clogs if you get something stuck in the front baffle. And sometimes you'll have clean outs like this, where they're standing straight up and down. So if you haven't looked in your house yet for your cleanouts, now's a great time to pause this video, go walk, take a look around. The cleanouts exist for a purpose. The purpose of them is if you flush something you're not supposed to flush, that's how you're dislodging the clog. Now, you might be saying, I don't think I'm ever gonna get a clog, or something like that's never gonna happen to me. You're wrong. People get clogs all the time, especially when they're using them flushable wipes. Flushable wipes are terrible. Do not put them down your toilets. It will go through the toilet, but it's going to get stuck on everything else as it works its way to the road or to your septic system. Now you may be saying to yourself, I've lived in my house and I've never had a problem. I don't need to worry about this. Yeah, you do. And here's why. You may not have a clog. You may not be getting a clog anytime soon, but eventually you're going to sell your house. And that potential buyer is probably going to hire a home inspector or a plumber or somebody who has a camera to run a camera through your sewer line. And the problem with not having access is, guess what? Now they've got to pull a toilet. So now you run the risk of more damage to your property, and it's going to cost more to have that camera put into the sewer. And you may be thinking, well, I don't care if the buyer has to pay more money. And you're correct. Most of the time when you're selling a house, if the buyer wants a sewer inspection, the buyer is going to be the one to pay for it. If they have to pull a toilet, the buyer usually is the one that has to pull a toilet. Where you should care, though, is if the guy who pulls the toilet does it wrong. Maybe they break the flange, or maybe they don't put the bolts on all the way, or maybe the wax ring's not correct. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and ultimately it's your house. So if the buyer doesn't fix it, or if the guy doesn't put it in and you don't notice it until 2-3 weeks later, now you play the blame game, it's a lot of a problem. Alternatively, you could go through the vent on the roof, but some roofs, that pitch is too great and most guys aren't doing that. Right? Like for me, for example, I'm not really getting on a roof if it's more than 1 story. Like if it's a rancher, okay, I might do that. But if it's like 2-3 stories, no, not doing that. We're gonna pull a toilet, or we're gonna add our own clean out to your system. The reason you want to have clean outs outside is, well, let's think about clogs, right? You get a clog in your sewer line, what do you think is going to happen? All that water plus the stuff is going to start backing up towards the home. So if you have a clog outside, let's just say 10 foot from the main road, and your clean out is a foot from your foundation, but you also have a clean out in the home. Well, you could open the clean out in the house and risk having all that liquid and stuff come back into your basement, and hope the bucket or the trash can that you brought into the basement is big enough to catch whatever is coming back to you. Or what you do is you go outside, use the outside clean out, and if stuff starts bubbling up or splashing, great, it's outside. You don't have to worry about it being in your basement. You don't have to worry about it staining your floors. You don't have to worry about it being on the carpet. It's outside. So you just take the hose, you just spray it off, you're back in business. The clean outs every few feet, or every 75 foot, or any kind of turn, like a sharp 45 or a drop down or something to that effect, is because that's where things are gonna get clogged up. When things are getting clogged up, you aren't going to have a good time because most homeowners don't have the equipment or the time to mess with dislodging whatever's stuck. So that means you're going to call a plumber, you're going to call a septic guy, you're going to call somebody that has the equipment and can do it really fast to get it cleared up and remove whatever's blocking up your pipes. When it comes to a septic system, you need to have a clean out so you can clean the system. Ideally, you have a manhole riser, but at least having just the port is enough to get the water and the solids out of the tank. Not as effectively as a manhole riser. We've covered that in other videos. We've got tons of videos on that. Manhole risers, if you don't have one on your tank, get one installed on your septic tank. So to bring all of this back, you have to start thinking about your sewer system and its total usage. If you're running your toilets, your sinks, your bathtubs, all that good stuff, you have to have a way to maintenance it. You should clean out your system every now and again. Jetting the lines is a good idea. Basically, it's pressure washing the pipe, it'll blow out all the junk, and it cleans everything up. You want to do this periodically because things are going to get stuck, and the more things that build up, the more likely you are to end up with clogging in the piping, which causes backups to the house. Jetting the sewer line is a good way to rinse out all of the grease. You're not supposed to put grease down there, but I know that most of you are doing that. I see sewer lines every single day. Everybody's putting grease down their sewer systems, or at least a little bit over time. It adds up, and then you kind of cake the walls of your pipe. If you use a jetter, it flushes all that junk out of the line, and so now you don't have to worry about those flushable wipes, feminine products, plastic, cigarette butts. You don't have to really worry about that stuff having an anchor point to get stuck. Don't put those things in your sewer line. You should never have a problem in the first place, but at least keeping the system clean will help to extend the time before you actually end up with a clog or a real big problem. If you found this useful, you know what to do. Remember, leave a comment down below. Do you know where your cleanouts are on your sewer line? Do you even have cleanouts on your sewer line? If you enjoy this, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I have videos posted every day on the World of Well and Septic. Till next time, guys.